dedicated to the interfaith and intercultural dialogue and collaboration. We believe in celebrating our commonalities and building on our shared values to benefit one and all, rather than obsessing over our differences. The Niagara Foundation promotes lifelong education for dialogue and mutual respect, cultural exchanges, and community service.
Chicago, the third largest city in the U.S. Many people from different ethnic groups, of different national origins, and of different faiths call it home. Each one of Chicago's richly diverse traditions contributes a distinct flavor to the city's cultural salad bowl. The result is a unique metropolis of world-class museums, architecture. Though hailing from different religious backgrounds, we find common ground through our travels, in which we share the same dining table.
I was saying to a number of people tonight, Kamal, that as I look out over this crowd, in 3 years, it is absolutely amazing what you and Niagara have done here in Chicago. You have brought together tonight is just another example of the true tradition of Turkish hospitality. And of course, our own Niagara Foundation, a new organization in our midst, has found its niche in bringing a wide group of diverse people from religion, the academy, students, government, and those newly come to America into settings such as this one tonight and many others that you heard about. Kamal Oksas and his staff have brought the generosity and loving attention of Turkish hospitality to Chicago. Those of us who went to Turkey with him understand this is not an accident. The Turkish people reflect their land, beautiful, warm, and loving to the stranger.
We will now continue our program with a brief video presentation on biblical treasures of Turkey.
Turkey has a strong historical and religious background and is known as the land of peace and harmony among faiths, BC.
It was truly a wonderful trip that we had, traveling with Kamal throughout Turkey. Looking at your pictures brought back so many wonderful memories of our time there. And I'd like to thank you and the Niagara Foundation for all your efforts in interfaith conversation, cooperation, for your efforts in education and hospitality. It's a model for all of us. Thank you.
What's happened for me and my school, knowing Kamal and knowing Niagara, when we talk about hospitality, that's what I've experienced. When we talk about generosity, that's what I and my school have experienced. And when I talk about holiness, that's really the sum, the outcome of generosity and hospitality. When I think about this in the last few years, they've come to my school and they've shared. They've worked with my students, they've worked with my staff. We were at the Interfaith Dinner last year, we were at the conference last year at the University of Chicago. In between Arthur and Serkan, two of the gentlemen in the Niagara Foundation worked with my students. My students' ACT scores were the highest they've ever been, in no small part due to what those gentlemen did tutoring my students. Absolutely. And every time Kamal and I would meet, he would talk about Turkish hospitality. He would always bring food, he would bring tea, he would bring himself. And this summer, my son and my wife and I got a chance to experience Turkish hospitality in Turkey. And from the Black Sea with Hakan, our guide, from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, from Istanbul to Antalya, from the wonderful architecture that is the Blue Mosque to the amazingly, ridiculously divine architecture that is Göreme and Cappadocia, what we found was beauty. and what we experienced was hospitality from the people. We were taking a look at one of Hoja Effendi's books, and we were talking about the word jihad, and I don't mean to say that to alarm anybody. But Hakan and I were talking, Hakan Bey and I were talking, and he said, you need to read this. And in Hoja Effendi's book, he says, the real jihad is fought in the hearts of each man and woman. Well, that may be where the battle is, but where the resolution is between people. It's in the coming out and the generosities, the moving out from our hearts to our lips and our arms and all our entire being as we put ourselves into play with one another through hospitality, generosity, and outgoing love. We talk a lot about what life is, and it's not what we do with it, it's what we give away, and that's how we measure it. I just want to thank the Niagara Foundation, because in terms of how you measure a life, Niagara Foundation has given life and given life and given life to my school, to my family, and to me, and I am grateful. Thank you, my friend.
I guess a couple of years ago now, we had dinner with Kamal and Saeed, and we talked about what it would be like to envision their dream of building a school in Haran, eastern Turkey, that would incorporate Jewish, Christian, and Muslim traditions. And that was their dream, that someday in the future they could do that. So we said, well, maybe we could do a pilot project right here at LSTC. And I was really just pulling their legs and kind of laughing about it. And about 2 weeks later, they said, we'll take you up on that offer. We're serious about it. So they said, in fact, we would like to talk with you about the MA program and maybe bring some students over. So we said, okay. So the next week we talked, and they had 6 students all lined up, ready to come and join us. This was a year ago, this past fall. And they've been with us now for a year and a half. And last summer we had 4 more, and 2 wives now. So we have about 11 students at the Lutheran School of Theology. So I hope this is a pilot project that goes on and on and on before it moves to Eastern Anatolia. We have just been richly blessed by having these students at the Lutheran School of Theology. They've been a challenge to us. They've been helping us to ask new questions of old texts. And when we do that, we discover new treasures being brought forth day by day. So we thank you, Kamal, Niagara Foundation, and all the students who are here tonight, I think. May your number increase, and may God bless you in the future and all that you do. Thank you.
Well, to sit with Kamal, as many of you know, not just Kamal, but others from Niagara Foundation, is not only to sit with your family, but it is to have a meeting of the heart. The most wonderful moments are those moments, truly, that I have spent with you and your friends. And a week ago Wednesday, we had perhaps 40 from Niagara Foundation come with Kamal, and they came with Turkish food, with food prepared by loving hands. And I promise that night you really had no idea who was the guest and who was the host. We shared, and it was truly a dialogue of the heart. And I think that's where we are moving. That is what will transform us, is just what you are blessing us with, what these type of gatherings and the dialogue that we had last Wednesday, the possibility to move from our dialogue of life, of sharing what we do, to a dialogue of heart. So we are so blessed by your presence, by all of you, the presence here of Niagara Foundation here in Chicago area. What a blessing for us. God has truly birthed us all from one heart, and relationship is what we are to do here, shape relationships with the heart.
It's a privilege to have now attended all 3 Niagara Foundation dinners. I and my colleagues applaud the Niagara Foundation for promoting dialogue and understanding. And it's an inspiration to us, my own body, the Buddhist Council of the Midwest, to see a group that is so young, that has done so much. I think that is really amazing.
On behalf of Turkish American Cultural Alliance, I would like to thank Niagara Foundation for inviting us to this wonderful event. And it has been an amazing, wonderful gathering here. It's wonderful to see so many people with different religions sitting at the same table and having sophisticated dialogue. As Turkish American Cultural Alliance, we're trying to promote Turkish culture, and this has been a wonderful example.
It was in the spring of 2004, and Harold Vogler from LSTC invited Sarah Tanzer and I from McCormick to attend a meeting with Kamal to discuss the possibility of Islamic Turkish students coming to study at LSTC. And one of my colleagues from LSTC at that meeting is the Luther scholar at the Lutheran School of Theology, someone I've taught with. And I was trying to imagine these Muslim students from Turkey studying about Martin Luther in Hyde Park. And I had a period of doubt, unbelief, and skepticism. So I went back to McCormick and I told one of my deans, they have this great dream over there at LSTC, but I don't think it's going to work. Well, that was in the spring of 2004, and in October of this year, I attended Iftar at the Lutheran School of Theology and sat at a table with two Muslim students from the University of Chicago who had never set foot on the campus of the Lutheran School of Theology until they heard that there was going to be an Iftar there sponsored by the Niagara Foundation and by the Lutherans. There are miracles of healing, there are miracles of the multiplication of loaves and fishes, and then there are miracles of dialogue, miracles of hospitality, miracles of mercy. And I have seen these miracles come about through the Niagara Foundation and the work of Kamal and his colleagues, and I say thank you for defeating my skepticism and doubt.
What strikes me most of the Niagara Foundation is its commitment to the education. This organization is committed to the education or the excellence of education, and this education is not just limited to any religious education alone, but developing a human personality which is not just alone a civic and secular personality, but a human personality which is a person of the global human community. And that ideal, from the core of my heart, I pray and always wish that Niagara succeeds in it, as well as hopefully the whole humanity will join them. And their educational program, again, is not limited only to Turkey or to the Turkish people. It is oriented to the whole world and different parts of the world. And I, from the very core of my heart, I will always pray and I wish, and we pray to God to put His blessings. And again, Kamal, for many of these activities you are arranging, bringing the hearts and minds of the people together, our heartfelt thanks and our prayers from God. May God bless your activities. Thank you.
The rabbis say the world is built on three things: study, which Niagara has allowed us to do in many ways; on compassion, which Niagara demonstrates in many multiple ways; and on acts of loving kindness. And this dinner tonight and all of the work that Niagara does, I think, really illustrates deep acts of loving kindness. Thank you very much.
Last words for this event. It's typical of the hospitality, the Turkish generosity and hospitality that I've experienced since I've gotten to know everybody in the Niagara Foundation. It's all about love, it's all about giving, it's all about generosity of spirit. That's what I find every time I deal with Niagara. Thanks so much.
Oh, tonight was beautiful. I think what I liked the most was the way everyone talked about the many tributes about the Niagara Foundation. But since I was a teacher, and I always will be a teacher, I guess I had to agree with the last speaker when I appreciate so much what you're doing with education. And I do want to get to your school up on Narragansett.
Yes.
Is it still there?
Yes.
But it was just a beautiful, beautiful, thank you so much. I was just at book club today, and I was talking about coming here tonight and how excited I was talking about Turkey and talking about a wonderful trip. So, but thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Tonight's been a wonderful occasion. It was so good to hear so many people praise the work of the Niagara Foundation, to realize all the good work that it's doing in America and in Turkey and in different parts of the world, and lovely to meet old friends like you again. So please do this much more often.